Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Today, we're going to take a rapid look at Python 3.14,
Yeah,
but specifically what it means for software engineers.
absolutely. We're going to dig from everything, but really focus in on the things that are going to impact you writing code.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to read the release notes. It's another thing to understand how it actually affects you.
Totally.
So where do we want to start?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably PTP 649, which is deferred evaluation of annotations.
Hmm.
And this is a really big deal for type hinting in Python.
I've seen this come up on some of the, Python forums and message boards and things.
hmm
What makes it such a big deal?
So previously, type annotations were evaluated at runtime, which, if you're not using them for type checking adds overhead.
Right.
So with deferred evaluation, they're stored in a special format and only processed if you actually going to use them.
So it's almost like lazy loading in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I can see how that would improve performance, but how much are we talking here?
If you've got a large code base with extensive type hints, this could significantly reduce startup time and memory footprint,
Oh, wow.
especially if you're not actually using a type checker
Yeah, that makes
at
sense.
runtime.
Okay, so, we're talking about type hints. Does this finally mean that we can get rid of all of the string-wrapped annotations?
In many cases, yes. So 3.14 introduces a new module called annotation lib.
Okay,
And it's got some tools for inspecting and resolving those forward references without needing the strings.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so annotations are getting faster, more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But, we all make mistakes. What about when things go wrong?
Right.
Are there any improvements to error messages?
Yeah, absolutely. They've enhanced error messages in 3.14, particularly for things like unpacking assignments, and even some of those really tricky string formatting errors.
Yeah, because sometimes I get those and I just don't even know where to start.
Right, right. And these improvements are really going to help you pinpoint the root cause of what's going on much quicker.
Can you give me a concrete example?
Yeah, so let's say you're trying to unpack a tuple with 3 variables, but the tuple has 4 values.
Okay.
Previously, you might have gotten a value error, which isn't very helpful.
Right, yeah, vague.
But now it'll tell you too many values to unpack.
Okay.
And it'll specify the expected and the actual number.
Okay, that's much clearer. What about with strings?
Oh, yeah. So imagine you have a multi-line string with a missing closing quote, right?
Yeah.
So instead of just pointing to the line where the error is, it might now suggest that the following line is intended to be part of that string.
That would be super helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so better error messages. As much as we don't want to admit it, debugging is a fact of life.
Right.
But now let's get to something that everybody loves, performance. I hear there's a new interpreter in Python 3.14.
Yeah, this is where things get really exciting. It leverages tail calls for potential performance gains, especially with recursive functions.
Oh yeah, tail calls. I remember learning about that in my compiler design class. How does that work again?
So, when a function's last operation is a call to itself,
Mhm.
instead of making a new stack frame for every call, the new interpreter will just reuse the existing frame.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that leads to significant speedups for those really deeply recursive algorithms.
Okay, so it's kind of like optimizing tail recursion. Does it apply to all recursive functions, or are there limitations?
So there are some limitations. It works best with recent versions of Clang
Okay,
on x86-64 and ARC-64.
gotcha.
Support for other compilers is coming, but right now it's a little limited.
Okay, so, it's a performance boost, and it sounds like it's still evolving.
Yeah.
But, a 9 to 15% speed improvement on average is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, no, that's pretty substantial.
What else should we know about?
Well, apart from the big changes, there's also a ton of updates to essential modules,
Okay.
like arbparse, asyncio, pytypes, multiprocessing, and pathlib.
Right, well, let's dive into those a little bit. Argparse, that's my go-to for command line parsing. What's new there?
So one cool thing is how the help messages display the program name now.
Okay.
It'll accurately reflect how Python was instructed to find the main module, so it's more consistent.
Okay.
And there's a new option to enable argument suggestions. So if somebody misspells something, it'll try to
Oh, nice.
give them a little help.
That's a good UX improvement.
Yeah.
What about asyncio? Anything that'll make our asynchronous code even faster?
Yeah, so Asyncio is now using a double-linked list for task management, and that's showing a 10% performance improvement on benchmarks.
Wow, 10%. That's impressive.
Yeah.
How about impsync types? Anything new in the low-level world?
A couple of things. The layout of bit fields and structures and unions has been like revised to better align with like the platform defaults, and you can now use several new functions for handling more complex types if your compiler and libc library supports it.
Okay, so maybe a little bit in the weeds for some listeners, but important if you're working with like C libraries and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on. Multiprocessing. What's happening there?
So one key focus is security. The fork server start method now uses like authenticated control soplets,
Okay,
which is more secure, reduces the risk of unauthorized processes spawning workers.
gotcha.
And then also the proxy objects for lists and dictionaries, they've got new methods now.
Oh.
So they're a little more versatile.
Nice. So it's getting more secure and more flexible.
Yep.
And last but not least, pathlib.
Yeah, pathlib got some love too.
Okay.
There are new methods like copy into, move, and move into,
Oh.
which let you recursively copy or move files and directories, so it makes file management a lot easier.
Okay, that's really useful.
Yeah, and there's a new info attribute that caches file type information and stat results, so that can speed things up a bit.
Cool. Well, it sounds like pathlib is getting a lot more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Additions, improvements.
Mm.
But as, you know, with new features, often come deprecations and removals.
Right.
And I'm very eager to dive into that. But maybe that's a good place to pause.
Yeah, let's do a part 2 for that.
Okay, so listeners, we will be back with part 2, where we talk about deprecations in Python 3.14.
Welcome back. So we were about to get into those deprecations.
Yeah, I'm ready to, see what's going away, what we need to update in our code.
Yeah, so let's start with arg parts. Passing that undocumented prefixture's keyword argument to a dargument group. Officially deprecated now.
Okay, so, if we've been using that, we got to refactor our code.
Yep.
Anything else in argparse?
Argparse.fileType converter, that's also being discouraged.
Okay.
So the recommendation now is to handle the resource management after parsing the arguments.
Right. Yeah, just keep it separate.
Yeah, not during the parsing process itself.
All right, good to know. What about the AST module? Any big changes there?
Yeah, several AST classes that were deprecated since 3.8 have been removed. Like
Okay.
AST_bytes, AST_ellipsis, AST_name_constant, AST_num, and AST_shape.
So if we've got any custom AST visitors that are handling those, we're going to need to update them.
Right, so the recommendation now is to use AST_constant.
Okay.
And for those who are already using AST_constant, the N and S properties are gone. You have to access the east constant.value directly.
Gotcha. So those are those little details that can really trip you up when you're, upgrading. All right, what's next?
Let's play Asensio. Asensio's seen some significant cleanup.
Okay.
Several functions and classes related to child watches, which were deprecated in 3.12, they're removed now.
Okay. So what's the recommended way to handle child processes now in Asensio?
Generally just use the standard subprocess module.
Okay.
It's a lot more robust, much more widely used.
Yeah, makes sense.
Also, the Asensio policy system that's being deprecated.
Okay.
So functions like getting a loop policy and classes like abstract event loop policy, those will be removed in 3.1.
Okay, so we got to start thinking about alternatives.
Yeah, so for most cases, just using Asensio.run or Asensio.runner with custom loop factories should do it.
Gotcha. So it seems like they're really trying to simplify Asensio.
Make it more streamlined.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about built-in functions? Anything there?
A few interesting ones.
Okay.
Using bitwise inversion on Boolean types, like tilde true or tilde false.
Yeah.
That's deprecated.
Yeah, that always felt a little weird to me.
Right.
So I guess just use not.
Yeah, just use not X. Much clearer.
Much more readable.
Yep.
What else?
Also passing a complex number as the real or imaginary argument to the complex constructor, also deprecated.
And what's the reasoning behind that?
It's really about consistency and avoid ambiguity. So passing the complex number as a single positional argument just aligns better with how you'd expect to use the constructor.
Yeah, it's just cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay. Any module-specific deprecations we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, a few.
Okay.
So calling the Python implementation of functools.reduce with function or sequence as keyword arguments, that's deprecated.
Okay, I'll have to check my code for that one. What about S?
os_bus.popen and the various os.spawn functions, those are soft deprecated.
Soft deprecated. What does that mean?
So it means that they're discouraged for new code, but they're not scheduled for removal yet.
Okay.
But you should probably start migrating to the subprocess module.
Right. Better to do it sooner than later.
Exactly.
All right, so keep an eye on functools and os. Anything else?
In PDB, the Kerfamelo calls attribute,
Okay.
which was undocumented, it's now a deprecated read-only property.
Hmm.
And in the symtable module, the class.getMethods method is going away.
Okay, so we've covered, kind of small things. We've covered big things. Is there more? Should we move on?
There are a few more, but they're kind of broader, related to the Python API and the build process.
Okay, well, maybe we should pause here again.
Yeah,
Give our listeners a little bit to process everything.
sounds good.
So listeners, we'll be back with the final part of our Python 3.14 deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Python 3.14.
Yeah, and this time we're going to look at like some broader changes.
Yeah, the Python API, build process, that sort of thing.
Exactly. The stuff that might not be super obvious in your everyday coding, but it's still important.
Right, it's kind of laying the foundation for the future.
Exactly.
So where do we start?
Let's start with the import system.
Okay.
There are some changes to how module attributes are handled. So like setting cached on a module without setting spec.cache, that's deprecated now.
Okay.
And same thing for package without spec.parent.
So it sounds like they're really trying to tie the modules and their specifications closer together.
Yeah, make it more explicit.
Okay, so what does that mean for us as software engineers?
Mostly it's just like a heads up for people doing like unusual stuff with imports.
Okay.
So in 3.15 and beyond, these attributes are going to be managed by the import system like strictly.
Gotcha.
So if you're trying to set them yourself, you might run into problems.
Okay, so yeah, stay ahead of that curve.
Yeah.
What else is going on in the API?
Erlib.parse has a couple of deprecations.
Okay.
Using objects with false values other than like empty strings, byte-like objects, or none in the parsex functions. That's discouraged now.
Yeah, I could see how that could lead to weird behavior.
Yeah.
It's better to just be explicit with your data types.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about the build process. Anything major happening there?
Yeah, one big one is they're discontinuing PGP signatures for verifying releases.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, starting with 3.14, they're moving to SigStore.
SigStore, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's a new standard for assigning and verifying software.
Okay.
It's designed to be more secure and user-friendly than PGP.
Gotcha.
It uses cryptographic keys and a transparency log.
Okay, so it's a pretty big step forward for security.
Absolutely.
That's good. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, are there any other deprecations or removals kind of on the horizon?
There are a few smaller things, like the array module is phasing out the U format code for wide characters. And itertools is dropping support for copy, deep copy, and pickle.
Okay, so, just little cleanups here and there.
Yep, they're refining things.
Well, it's been a fascinating journey going through all this.
Yeah.
Python 3.14, that's a lot to offer. So as our listeners, are getting ready to start their next project, what are the key takeaways they should keep in mind?
I think the biggest one is that 3.14 isn't just about shiny new toys.
Right.
It's really about making Python more robust, more efficient, more secure.
Yeah, making sure that it's ready for the future.
Exactly.
Well, with all these changes and improvements, what are you most excited to explore? Let us know what you think and how these updates are going to help you build amazing applications. Until next time, happy coding.